All right, what is up, guys? Back at it with another altcoin watchlist video. And I didn't do a video last week, so there's nothing to update. I was more concerned with my stablecoins depegging to be able to make an actual video. So we'll just pick up where we left off, and we'll just start anew. In which, by the way, the coins from the week prior did pretty well. So had I made a video, it would have been a clout claim video. But just yeah, obviously in the midst of things going to absolute hell and going to shit, then probably not going to be too worried about making a video. So we'll just pick up. And starting this week, I'm very interested in BNB, not necessarily at current price, but at a little bit higher than current price, maybe. Because if we manage to break out of this massive range that we've been stuck in for about, 6 months or so, 7 months, something crazy like that, then I would anticipate much further price expansion into whatever the next resistance level is. So the next one that I would have my eye on would immediately be 360. And then the next after that, probably around like 430 ish or 440, 440, 450. So those would be the targets. And hopefully BNB just gives us a way of actually trading that analysis. So maybe 2 hour, 200 moving averages are the high time frame trend portrayal, which of course at the moment, totally irrelevant because price action is not pulled back into them ever since breaking out of them, right? That's kind of like the light bulb that goes off that makes you think, oh, wait, this time might be different than all these other times, right? And maybe we're back into this style of an uptrend, except for that isn't really an actionable analysis because we never pull back into those moving averages, during this entire rally. So, an analysis and an actionable analysis, two entirely different things. Maybe you could argue that this was the pullback, but yeah, probably not going to be something that I'm actually taking action off of. But yeah, so we'll zoom in and we'll look at different time frame trends. So I'm zooming into the 5 minute, maybe the 15 minute, maybe the 30 minute, right? And I would say maybe the 30 minute does the best job of portraying the local trend. So if we got to pull back into those, then that would be the ideal kind of place to establish like a scalp long position back into this resistance and then maybe above that resistance. And then, of course, if we just simply manage to break out above this major resistance level, then I will use those exact same 30-minute 200s as a local trend to base. Oh, look at this. This is the retest, breakout retest, reclaim of this massive high time frame region, and we can look for that push higher. So that's BNB, and then obviously if those that local trend breaks, then I divert my attention to the higher time frame trend, the 2 hour 200s. So BNB, not interested at the moment, but potentially very interested depending on what happens. GMX is another good coin. And for this, I believe we are zoomed into the hourly 200 moving averages. So this is portraying the trend most effectively or efficiently, whatever, for GMX. So if we continue to get pullbacks into these hourly 200s, there's going to be an interesting region for me to maybe hop into some swing longs or something along those lines. And then 30-minute 200s, a more effective local trend portrayal, right? More relevant to what's currently happening. And you can play those with the current structure being consolidation. So if you're buying the 30-minute 200s, you are betting that this consolidation kind of structure, which may turn into a range for all we know, right? Might just go sideways instead. But you're betting that this kind of sideways price action eventually resolves with upside. So that's a good bet to be making, but it's not necessarily something that I'm totally interested in. But yeah, uh, bet on uptrend. And, if we get uptrend, then great. And if we don't, we lose the 30-minute 200s. Now I can divert my attention to something like the hourly 200s and trying to play into those structures. So that's GMX. Next, we have KAVA. Let's see. So on a much higher time frame scale, KAVA is interesting to me. Um, at this at this support level, having failed through this support, come back down, now kind of testing like these range lows. 4 hour 200 moving averages are an effective high time frame trend portrayal. They are locally relevant, meaning that this test was in a clear breakout, retest, pullback, the whole shebang. And now we're looking to come back down into them. So 4 hour 200 MAs, and then maybe you could argue like some sort of local demand zone if we do pull back that deep, right? Maybe some local support along that region. But at the moment, at a demand zone, but my issue is I'm lacking the conviction, right? Because my setup is more based on like a paper foundation than it is concrete. Someone could come in and say, "Hey, Kava has this, bearish news catalyst or whatever," and I would immediately fumble my position because it's just based on a random gray box that I drew, right? So I'm lacking the conviction, not really so convinced that this is going to be the high or low on the daily that I should be looking for. We very well could just pull back into the 4 hour 200s and find it there instead, right? So the caveat to that, if this is the bottom and I'm psyching myself out of buying the bottom because I'm lacking conviction or whatever, is if this ends up being a bottom and we show strength from here and that was the higher low and we're looking for a higher high on the daily and we're looking for breakout of this resistance level again and much further upwards, then we have to reclaim some sort of a local trend in order for us to do any of those things. And the local trend that I'm going to be using will be the 15-minute 200 moving averages. So if we manage to reclaim those, then just like every other time during this entire rally, I will assume that's probably the bottom and I can go from here, assuming that the higher low on the daily is already locked in, and try and swing my longs from that point as well. So that pays potentially an opportunity cost in the sense that when this does happen, maybe this 2 hours of price action or whatever occurs in the time that you're sleeping. Or maybe instead of this kind of a price action, it's just like that, right? You go to buy the 15-minute 200 MA reclaim, but price is right here. So no setup for you, right? So yeah, but that's going to be how I'm looking to approach KAVA. Other than that, we have INJ. I think it's injective. I don't actually know though. Uh, yeah, don't know anything about alts. Don't really care. But yeah, INJ breaking out of or attempting to break out of this resistance level, depending on how you draw it and how you see it. But the way that I see it is we're kind of just barely breaking out of this pretty massive daily resistance level. It's been the resistance for about a month and a half now. So pretty key. And then if we manage to break out above that, I just simply target whatever the next resistance level is, which is actually not too far away. It is around $5. So only like a less than a 10% move kind of thing. So not crazy, but in the event that we manage to reclaim that level as well, then I just scale my assumptions to whatever the next resistance level is. And that's where the fun really starts. And that's a 35% move. So if I can manage to play INJ anytime during this price action, I will absolutely be interested in doing so. The thing is, the chart just kind of has to shape up in a way for me to be able to actually apply my system. So hourly 200 MAs, I would have said are the trend, the local trend. We need to be paying attention to them, and they are, right. It's more of like a high time frame trend portrayal now. They're the most efficient high time frame trend portrayal, and we're above them. Obviously, that's bullish. The problem is, again, just like I believe it was GMX, is when you're breaking out, that's the light bulb that goes off that makes you think, oh, this time might be different. But there's no like, nailing in that idea. There's no nail in the coffin to that idea. There's nothing that you can actionably do to play into that light bulb of an analysis, right? Because no one cares about your hourly 200 moving averages. Instead, we care about the 30-minute 200s. We're finding a local trend along those. And as long as we remain above these 30-minute 200s, there is the chance that we just simply go into that next resistance level, right? We said, what, 10% higher than here, something along those lines. And who knows, maybe above that resistance into the next. So if you're begging for the hourly 200 MA pullback, just know that the probabilities of you getting it are lower as long as we remain above these 30-minute 200s, which might mean you want to opt to play the 30-minute 200s in the meantime. And then once that trend breaks, hopefully by the time that it does, you've already milked the trend long enough and enough for you to overcompensate for that loss that you will inevitably take upon that wave crashing, right? And then you can kickstart the whole mindset all over again along hourly 200s and go from there. So that's the idea, at least, and that is a viable option. And the last coin that I'm going to have, and then we have an honorable mention, is IMX. And then after this is the honorable mention. So IMX, it already looks like 30-minute 200s are a local trend portrayal, but I'm kind of fast forwarding a little bit too much. We just broke out of a pretty key resistance level. This is not a butterflies and dandelions and rainbows kind of breakout retest by any means, at least the way that I have my resistance level drawn. But it was the breakout retest. We did come back down and retest these 4-hour 200s. They do hold some relevance on a much more historic kind of time frame, and somewhat recently. So pullback retest, all the same, analysis wise, could you have traded it and traded it effectively? I'm not so sure, but purely from a chartist standpoint, pullback retest and continuation, right? This is the consolidation along whatever arbitrary trend line or whatever you have drawn. And this is us creating a higher high. And now even little Timmy knows that, yes, this is in fact an uptrend, right? So looking to play the local trend portrayal, maybe 30-minute 200s. And in the meantime, right, so we said 30-minute 200s, local trend. And in the meantime, you have these like parabolic trends where you're not even getting a pullback into your 30-minute 200s, right? So times like this, and in which case, maybe you're trading something like the 5-minute, or this is where it gets incredibly extreme and you start to lose me, 3-minute 200s, right? So it's like the concept is the same, but the time frame changes, and the time frame is now a time frame that I'm not comfortable with trading. So I'm going to sit pretty and watch for the 30-minute 200s or lower, right? Maybe 2-hour or 4-hour, we said, and then go from there. So yeah, much. There's a massive difference between analysis and actionable analysis. And then the last coin that I have for you, which is an honorable mention, purely because I don't know why. I just thought it'd be cool. Uh, I don't really have a way to play it though. Maybe that's why it's an honorable mention, is because it is very bullish. It is obviously making higher highs, stacks, right? So strong coin, obviously a strong trend. You would have wanted to have a position on this and just kind of let it run, but obviously I don't have that luxury at the moment. At a pretty major resistance level, so if we pull back, what is the region to be interested in? And I would argue 4-hour 200 moving averages probably the thing that you want to be paying attention to in the event that this major resistance acts as major resistance and sends us lower. Understand that a lot has to happen in order for that to occur, but at the same time, don't label it impossible. We're never going to pull back and retest the 4-hour 200s again. This is just so bullish. Well, yeah, all the people that said that back here, right, got absolutely destroyed. So, and then it ended up being, in hindsight, just yet another trend retest to a very strong high time frame trend, and then continuation, right, higher low and then higher high. So it's not impossible, but it's not likely as it stands. And yes, we are at resistance, but it's just yet another resistance that is stepping in our way before we push up and test the next resistance thereafter, just as we have done every single step of the way for this entire rally up into current price. So, what is the local trend? And then we can start to scale our assumptions based on that. And then maybe you argue maybe 30-minute 200s, or let's say 15-minute 200s, right? Whatever is a more effective portrayal for you. I honestly think it's more like 5-minute. And this is where, right, again, you start to lose me. I'm not really willing to trade the 5-minute 200s, establish positions on extreme trends along 5-minute 200s, that kind of thing. It just doesn't really fit my style in terms of like my inner nature of who I am as a human, not even necessarily as a trader. So it's just too much adrenaline, right? And watching the position size tick up and my RR change by 0.3 R with every tick is just too much for my brain to handle. But if that's how you're going to be scaling assumptions and looking to trade stacks, it is a viable way to do so. 5-minute 200s obviously portray the trend the most effectively out of everything that we've looked at thus far. And the only caveat to that would be the 4-hour 200s on a much, 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 much higher time frame, which is inactionable or even irrelevant to us at this moment. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Before you go, before you click out or end whatever, I am doing a Bybit giveaway. I'm giving away an iPhone 14 to somebody on my ref link. So if you're interested, not a lot of people have signed up in the month of March. You have a pretty good chance of winning that giveaway. I'm also going to be giving away something to the people who are already on my ref link, but I just don't know what. So if you recall, last month I gave away $500, and that was $250 each, and it was someone new who had just signed up in the month of February, and then someone who'd already been on my ref link. That way, I'm not screwing people over who signed up this month. I'm trying to give away to anyone who's on my ref link and supporting me, as long as you're active and you are actually trading and therefore supporting me in that fashion, then I want to give back to you. So, yeah, if you're interested in being eligible for an iPhone 14 giveaway, then all you have to do is register an account under my Bybit referral link, sign up, deposit $100, and take one trade. Listen to me. You have to do all three of those steps. You have to register an account, deposit money, $100 or more, and take a trade. If you don't do all three of those things, then you're not eligible. But once you do all three, you're good to go. And I do appreciate you guys supporting me.